Per this week's Observer, WWE is upset that the crowds have been down recently at the Performance Center for the NXT shows, and because of that, the crowd reactions have been down, which is generally what happens when the crowds are down. So the company sent notice to all talent and crew in NXT to strongly encourage their friends and family in Central Florida to attend the shows to help bring the energy level up for the final shows leading into Stand and Deliver. This was for the show this past Tuesday. Not only did they have a live show, but they also taped the Go Home episode that airs this Tuesday. You know, look, when you play to the same couple hundred fans every week, because they can't fit that many people there, and, you know, we can't see it, but from the side that they shoot in the Performance Center, there's nobody sitting on that side. You know, it's very similar, actually, to the way it is in the bigger arenas, where on the hard camera side, very few of those seats are open in the big buildings. I don't think there's anybody sitting on that side in the Performance Center. So there's not that many people there. And when you play to the same crowd of, let's say, a couple of hundred fans every week in the same building, unless you're giving them something compelling, you know, eventually the novelty wears off. They're going to stop turning out. Or they're going to turn out, but they're not going to be as enthusiastic as you want them to be. The tickets are free. You don't have to pay to get in. You know, the paying customer, they want to be there. They're giving you their money because they want to be there. And so at least they're invested enough in the product. They should know all the players and be loud for them. When you're giving tickets away for free to the same people every week, and it's a developmental show, you know, this is what you end up with. You know, you're not even getting the stars. Eventually, this is what happens. Tiffany Stratton won her way into the women's title ladder match at Stand and Deliver with a win over Indy Hartwell. Lyra Valkyria beat Ivy Nile to win her own spot in the ladder match. And here's a spoiler for the show coming up this Tuesday. So if you don't want to know anything about that show, this is your 3-second warning. You can skip ahead, honestly, skip ahead by 5 minutes because there's going to be a couple more of these in here. On this Tuesday's show, Indy Hartwell wins a match over Sol Ruka and Ivy Nile to claim the final spot in the ladder match, so she gets in after all. The update on Roxanne Perez from her own social media is that the doctors are saying that we are no closer to finding out what happened to me at Roadblock. I am very frustrated, but I promise I'll be back stronger than ever, but I just don't know when. Oh, she knows when. She's going to be at Stand and Deliver. That is the belief. Whether that's just for an appearance or she's going to end up in the ladder match is not confirmed. It sounds like there was some sort of actual medical issue. It wasn't an injury that came up, which is why they let her wrestle that match against Mako, and then they shot the angle that they did after the match was over. And if she can be cleared in time, she will wrestle on that show. None of this makes any sense unless it was a legitimate injury issue that sidelined her in the first place, because all they have done is complicate what should have been a very simple, very straightforward match to build between her and Tiffany Stratton. So now we have a multi-person ladder match that may or may not crown a new women's champion. This whole thing has felt like they're just winging it until they know more about what her status is going to be. So if it is a legitimate medical problem, I can't beat them up over it. They're trying to make the best of a bad situation. Plus, you have the injury to JC Jane that took her out, when I'm sure the plan would have been to have her in a match against Gigi Dolan one-on-one on that show. Stand and Deliver now is mostly a bunch of multi-person matches to get as many people on the card as possible. The one that I am looking forward to is the North American Title 5-Way, which, given the talent involved, could steal the show. In fact, I'd be shocked if it didn't. It'll probably be on the short list of top matches for the entire weekend. Wes Lee got to pick who would get the 4 open spots. He gave one to Dragon Lee. Of course, nepotism, right? Giving it to family members. He gave another one, actually he didn't give it to him, but JD McDonough and Ilya Dragunov, they had a great match that had no winner. And it broke down at the end, so both of them ended up being added to the match at Stand and Deliver. And the last spot is going to be decided in a Battle Royal that airs this Tuesday. And again, spoiler alert, skip ahead if you don't want to know who wins the Battle Royal. But the Battle Royal this Tuesday comes down to Axiom and Nathan Fraser, with Axiom winning. So Axiom will get the 5th and final spot in the North American title match. And on that note, let's talk about Stand and Deliver this Saturday at the Crypto.com Arena. God, these arena names, my God. Can we bring back the talking stick? That would be better than the Crypto.com Arena. It is the same building they are running for SmackDown in the Hall of Fame the night before. They have over 6,600 tickets sold, making this the biggest NXT crowd since the 2.0 relaunch and even further back before the pandemic. They're doing an 8-person tag match with The Schism against Chase University and Tyler Bate, who has a gimmick now where he is a yoga guru. Because everybody on this show needs a gimmick. This is also going to be Ava Rain's debut match. So maybe The Rock can sneak into the crowd and disguise himself as Black Adam to watch. That's a really good cosplay, man. You look just like him. Hey, thanks. When Joe Gacy said that they have already beaten Chase U many times and they have nothing to gain by fighting them again, in this segment they did on Tuesday, Duke Hudson spoke up. And he offered to put Chase U on the line, which Gacy agreed to, and Andre Chase was, none too happy about him doing that. I think the Schism wins, probably with Duke causing Chase U to lose, and then he ends up being made the fucking provost or something by Joe Gacy. I don't think it's possible for me to care any less about this program, so I don't really care one way or the other. Kiana James and Fallon Henley defend the NXT Women's Tag Team titles against Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. I think Alba and Isla are going to become the new Women's Tag Team Champions. Johnny Gargano, one-on-one with Grayson Waller in an unsanctioned match. I have Johnny Gargano winning that one. The NXT Tag Team titles will be defended in a 3-way match with Gallus, the Creed Brothers, and Tony D'Angelo and Stax. I'm going with the Creed Brothers here. I was going to go with Gallus to retain. They just won them at Vengeance Day, but it's been a while. It's been almost a year since we have seen the Creeds with Tag Team Gold. I think they win the titles at Stand and Deliver. We have a 5-way for the North American Championship with Wes Lee defending against Dragon Lee, Ilya Dragunov, JD McDonough, and Axiom. This is the match I am looking forward to the most. It's going to be pure insanity, and I may be in the minority on this, but I am picking JD McDonough to win this match. He is the lone heel in this match, and I think they save Dragon Lee's eventual title win for a singles match, where he takes it off the heel, not unlike how they debuted Ricochet 5 years ago, WrestleMania weekend. In a big multi-man North American Championship match, he lost. But he won the title later that summer off of Adam Cole. McDonough has also lost a lot already in big matches, so I think this is a win that would do him some good. So I have JD McDonough winning the North American title. Then we have a ladder match, presumably for the NXT Women's Championship, although not yet confirmed, with Zoe Stark, Tiffany Stratton, Gigi Dolan, Lyra Valkyria, and Indy Hartwell. I think Roxanne gets added and defends her title in the match, but Tiffany Stratton is walking out the new NXT Women's Champion. I've thought this for months. I can't go back now. I'm sticking with Tiffany to be the new champ. And in the main event, a match 18 months in the making since they blew up the whole damn thing. Two of the shining stars of this new NXT, one-on-one for the first time ever, Carmelo Hayes challenges Bron Breakker for the NXT Championship. Two men who could conceivably be called up to the main roster at any time after WrestleMania. Both men are ready, I think, for main roster call-ups. I don't think both of them will get called up. I think only one will, and I think it'll be Bron Breakker because he is going to drop the NXT Championship to Carmelo Hayes. And I think this will be the beginning of a babyface run as champion for Carmelo Hayes. And I do think Bron Breakker will go on to the main roster very shortly after WrestleMania weekend. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I think it's going to happen Monday night, the Monday after WrestleMania. But I do think it won't be very long before he ends up on Raw or SmackDown. But I'm looking forward to that match as well. But the one I'm looking forward to the most is the North American title match. I have enjoyed this run that Wes Lee has been on. I kind of don't want him to lose, even though I think he will. So, again, kind of similar to the Ring of Honor show, where not as strong on paper, but there's, at least a couple of different things that I am legitimately looking forward to and excited to see. It's going to be a lot of great wrestling next weekend.